My name is Rigel Robinson, and I'm a city council member for the city of Berkeley, California. My district encompasses the UC Berkeley campus, but also the Telegraph Commercial District, the South Side neighborhood, where we have such a beautiful mix of long-term residents and students all in one wonderful place, trying to find that balance between town and gown.
7 months after Rigel Robinson graduated from UC Berkeley, the 22-year-old decided to put his political economy degree to use. Robinson joined a surge of young people running for office in the midterm elections and won a seat on the Berkeley City Council, making him the youngest council member in city history.
We're having a national conversation about income inequality and economic inequality and wealth inequality and what that means for our society and for our politics. And it's important to remember that young people are being affected by that in a profoundly negative way, from student debt to struggling to get a job after you graduate. And I know that one impact of getting Rigel elected to City Council is to raise attention to these issues in a way that maybe hasn't been done before, because we experience these issues so profoundly.
And if people can please take their seats. I'd like to call to order the regular meeting of the Berkeley City Council for Tuesday, June 25th, 2019. Can we have a roll call, please?
Present.
Whitebread. Robinson. Present.
I hope to accomplish a lot during these 4 years, during this term. Berkeley is a really incredibly ambitious city. We're a city of only 120,000 or so, but the city punches above its weight constantly. It's often the first city in the country to take on one important initiative or another.
First, add Councilmember Hahn as a co-sponsor maker for her supports, and move the item to consent with one additional.
And now Berkeley is looking to be one of the first cities in the country to really re-examine its zoning map and think about how exclusionary zoning has affected what we can and can't build in different places, to make sure that our city is building the housing that we need to accommodate a booming Bay Area, while at the same time making sure that conversations about gentrification and anti-displacement efforts are at the forefront of everything we do. We need to get a little more creative with the space that we have to make sure that everyone that wants to call California home really can.
I think Rigel's election in 2018, I think it was a real turning point for our city in terms of legitimizing and recognizing students and young people as a force in politics, not a group of people to be ignored as people who don't vote or people whose opinions don't matter, but people who have substantial interests that need to be listened to by elected officials. And I'm hopeful that, as we see more and more young people getting elected to office, not just running campaigns, not just working as volunteers, but people who are actually getting elected themselves, that we'll see politics that is more and more accountable to our generation, which is the most diverse generation in the state's history.
There's a lot of conversation happening all over the country about the role of young people in politics, and I saw that firsthand. In November, 3 other dear friends of mine, also recent alums of UC Berkeley, were all actually elected to local office in their respective hometowns. My friend Brian graduated my year, actually, moved back to Delano and ran for the Delano City Council and was elected. Caitlin, who graduated a couple years earlier, moved back to Petaluma and was elected to the school board there, and is now the only member of that school board who actually attended the Petaluma public schools that she's helping to oversee. And Jocelyn, who graduated a few years ago too, moved back home to Eastvale and was elected to the city council there. And these are candidates who, a few years ago, people weren't used to seeing people like that run for office, young people, people of color, but there have been voters waiting for someone like them to step up and to speak to their needs. And the more people actually do, the more people actually prove that you can, the more quickly government and this country is going to change for the better.